Picture the scene. The dead of night in a quiet German city. Two cars are riddled with over 70 bullets. Inside, the bodies of 6 young men, each with a final kill shot to the head. This wasn't a robbery. It wasn't about settling a drug score. It was revenge, a clan war that crossed an entire continent, and it all started, years earlier, over a single egg thrown during a carnival. This is the story of a hitman who swore to avenge the death of his cousin, murdered on Christmas Day. A man who used the mafia's network in Belgium to plan a perfect execution and unleash hell 2,000 kilometers from home. How could a family feud in a remote Italian village escalate into an international massacre? To find the answer, we have to go back to where it all began, to the place the mafia calls the Cradle of Hate. At the tip of Italy's boot, in the region of Calabria, lies an isolated mountain town called San Luca, with just 3,000 inhabitants. This place is known as the Mother, the cradle and epicenter of the most powerful and secretive criminal organization in the world, the 'Ndrangheta. Unlike other mafias, the 'Ndrangheta is built on blood ties. Its clans, called Ndrine, are families. Loyalty is absolute, and betrayal is paid for with death. From this small town, they control a vast portion of Europe's cocaine trade, generating billions of euros a year. It was here, in San Luca, that everything started. In 1991, during a carnival celebration, a trivial altercation, a dispute over an egg or a firecracker lit the fuse. What should have been a simple fight became a declaration of war between two of the town's most powerful families, the Nerta Strongio and the Palvotari Romeo. That very night, 2 young men from the Nerta Strongio clan were murdered. The incident wasn't about an egg, it was about honor. In the 'Ndrangheta's code, disrespect, no matter how small, is a capital offense. The only acceptable response is blood. What followed was a chain of murders and vendettas that plunged San Luca into a low-intensity war for years. Finally, in 2000, the old patriarchs imposed a truce. But the peace was fragile, and the hatred simmered, waiting for a spark to reignite it all. That spark came in the form of an ambush. Francesco Pell, a member of the Palvotari clan known as Sergio Pakistan, was on his balcony, holding his newborn son. Suddenly, shots rang out. A bullet struck him in the back, leaving him paralyzed for life. From his wheelchair, Francesco Pell swore a terrible revenge. His chance came on a sacred day, December 25, 2006, as the families of San Luca celebrated Christmas. A team of hitmen headed to the home of Giovanni Luca Nerta, one of the rival clan's bosses. The objective was clear: kill the boss, but in the darkness and chaos, they made a fatal mistake. Giovanni Luca Nerta managed to escape unharmed. The person who took the bullets was his wife, Maria Strongio. Maria's murder was a point of no return. In the world of the 'Ndrangheta, there are unwritten codes, and one of the most important is that women and children are off limits. By killing an innocent woman on Christmas Day, the Palvotari clan had crossed a line that guaranteed retaliation on a scale ever seen before. At Maria's funeral, her cousin, a young man named Giovanni Strongio, was arrested by the police. He had shown up armed, ready to avenge his cousin's death right then and there. All-out war was inevitable. 8 months later, the revenge arrived. The chosen stage was the Dar Bruno restaurant in Duisburg, Germany. This wasn't just any restaurant, it was a known base of operations for the Palvotari Romeo clan, a place police suspected was used for money laundering. That night, a group of young men were celebrating the 18th birthday of one of their own, Tommaso Venturi. Among the guests was Marco Marmo, a prime suspect in Maria Strangio's murder. In the pocket of one of the young men, police would later find a burnt image of the Archangel Michael, a symbol used in Drangheta initiation rituals. They were celebrating a new member's entry into the family, oblivious to the death that awaited them outside. There were two assassins, Giovanni Strangio, Maria's cousin, thirsty for revenge, and his brother-in-law, Giuseppe Nerta. They had planned the execution with military precision. They waited patiently in the dark. When the 6 young men left the restaurant and got into their cars, the hitmen opened fire. They unloaded more than 70 bullets into the vehicles. And then, with chilling coldness, they walked up to each victim and finished them with a shot to the head. The massacre was recorded by a nearby security camera, but it only captured the image of the killers fleeing. The slaughter wasn't an act of rage. It was a declaration of power. The Nerta Strangio clan was showing that their law had no borders and that no one, anywhere, was safe from their wrath. The question lingered. How was it possible to execute such a complex operation over 2,000 kilometers from San Lucar? The answer lay in the invisible network that Drangheta had woven across Europe. They had turned the continent into their playground. Belgium played a key role in this network. The port of Antwerp was one of the main entry points into Europe for cocaine from South America, a business controlled by the San Lucar clans. The country served as a nerve center for coordinating drug trafficking and, above all, for laundering the enormous sums of money it generated. Germany, meanwhile, was their base of operations. The clans had colonized entire regions, dividing the territory. The Nerta Strangio controlled the karst area, while the Palvo Tari Romeo dominated Duisburg. The massacre was deliberately committed in enemy territory. They used legitimate businesses like restaurants, hotels, and pizzerias as fronts to launder billions of euros. This structure allowed them to move money, weapons, and men across Europe with astonishing ease, taking advantage of the European Union's open borders. In fact, the connection was so strong that the weapons used to kill Maria Strangio in Italy had been sent from Duisburg. Then Drangheta was using the tools of a modern, globalized world to wage its ancient war. The Duisburg massacre was a catastrophic miscalculation. By bringing their war to the streets of Germany, then Drangheta broke its golden rule, silence. Overnight, they became the focus of global attention, exposing their power and brutality in a way they never had before. The attack triggered an unprecedented response. German and Italian police formed a joint investigation team, marking a turning point in the fight against organized crime in Europe. European agencies like Europol and Eurojust became deeply involved, sharing intelligence and coordinating efforts. The hunt focused on one man, Giovanni Strangio. He became one of Europe's most wanted fugitives. The investigation followed a trail of clues across the continent. His apartment in Karst, abandoned in a hurry, offered the first leads. But the key came from evidence found in another clan member's flat that pointed towards the Netherlands. Wiretaps on his family, desperate to contact him, ultimately revealed his location. Finally, on March 12, 2009, after an 18-month chase, a Dutch Special Forces team raided an apartment in a suburb of Amsterdam. Inside, they found Giovanni Strangio. He was living in hiding with his wife and young son. The family network that had given him shelter and protection was also what led to his downfall. The trial began in April 2010 in Locri, in the heart of Drangheta territory. Giovanni Strangio, considered the mastermind and triggerman of the massacre, followed the proceedings via video link from a maximum security prison in Rome. In the courtroom, sitting in the front row, were the mothers of the victims, a constant reminder of the pain this war had caused. In July 2011, the verdict came down. The court sentenced Giovanni Strongio and 7 other clan members to life in prison. Francesco Ciccio Pakistampel, the man who ordered Maria Strangio's murder from his wheelchair, was also captured years later in Portugal while receiving treatment for COVID-19 and sentenced to the same fate. But the true consequence of the massacre went far beyond the prison sentences. It was a wake-up call for all of Europe. The attack proved that the 'Ndrangheta was not an Italian problem, but a transnational threat that operated without respecting borders. This forced the creation of new and powerful international police units like the Aton Network and Interpol's ICON project, designed specifically to combat the mafia on a global level. These new tools culminated in massive stings like Operation Eureka in 2023, which dismantled a large part of the Nerta Strongio network in Belgium and Germany. The Duisburg massacre, an act of borderless violence, had created its own antidote, an equally global police response. After the massacre and the immense police pressure, the 'Ndrangheta's high command, furious about the unwanted attention, intervened. They imposed a forced peace between the San Luca clans. The war that had started with a single egg thrown at a carnival had finally ended. The story of the Duisburg massacre is a chilling journey from the triviality of a local conflict to the highest echelons of global crime. A moment of wounded pride in a forgotten town unleashed a spiral of violence that crossed borders, exposed an invisible criminal empire, and forever changed the way Europe fights the mafia. The 'Ndrangheta was forced back into the shadows, back to its code of silence, but its network, though damaged, is still there. The shadow remains, a reminder that beneath the surface of our globalized world, ancient and brutal forces are at work, governed by their own laws of blood and revenge. Thank you for staying until the end. Behind every video are hours of research to bring you the complete story. If you value that effort, the best way to support us is by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. See you in the next investigation.